Welcome again to the next part of Style Sheet and CSS. Today I will show you the next part that we learned of page styling. So let's start with styling this page a little. So I will add here the ID to the image. ID equals main. Alright. I will show it again. Class in CSS looks like this one. Dot red, and this you add a color, supposedly red. This is a class with a dot here and the name of the class red, which I've taken it. And on the other hand, IDs look like this. They've got a hash. Take minion. Alright, this is a hash here. This is a hash and the name. That is how you put an ID. And you use the curly braces over here, this opening and closing curly braces. For each different style and elements to it, you can add each whatever you want in it, which is related to the ID, will take the effect what you add in this. Well, let's take a look at the page again. We have the image on the left side, the text over here. Suppose that we want this image over here on the right side and the text to appear on the left side. So to do that, let's do some custom styling. For starters, let's end the div here. I will show you. Let's end the div over here. Let's end it over here, div, and let's create a second div, and it ends over here. Let's give it ID container. ID equals and let's say we want it to be 800 pics. 800. So what we're gonna do, width 800 pics, and to know that it works, let's give the background color as TDD is going to be a little light gray. So save it and reload the page. Now you see this is the gray part that we just put in. The gray part you can see here, and yes, we have the image and the text in the background color, and now we want the image to be on the right side over here. So to do that, we use CSS attributes, which is called a float. I'll show you that too. So let's create the float here. Float right, because we want the image to float on right. And this is on the image element, that is minion that we just created up there. So let's save and refresh. So you can see the image is on the right side, and let's say we want the container to be 500 pics. So let's add it over here. Height 500 pics. save it and refresh. So you can see it is 500 pixels. 500, that is 800 by 500. Now let's style the text in here, and we want a gap between the text and the image, and so let's put a margin or a padding. A margin or a padding defines the space between the elements. Well, the margin is a space outside of the element and padding is the space inside of the element. So let's take an example. So the padding 10 pixels, and let's add a level of a text. So we can understand what really it is doing, and save it and reload. See, let's say I want the same a little bit around my image. So to do that, let's create a different element, say image img, and margin is 10 pixels. So let's save it and reload. You can see this border, the edge you can see is turning 10 pixels. The gap is there, you can see. I want the image to be on these edges but not to be like close, so I'll put the margin over here. So let's do that. We'll add over here margin left 10 pixels, margin bottom 10 pixels, here you can see that the edges, you don't see any edges, they are gone, and the space you can see it is still up there. So it removes the right and the top spaces, and you might see that the text out of the background is this. It is weird, so I don't want that to happen. So let's add in the container overflow. I'll show you how to do that. Overflow set to scroll, and refresh. See, you can see this scroll bar over here, and the text is not outside of it. So overflow will do that. What the text that which is going outside of the background color, it will put in the scroll part, and well, with this overflow scroll, it will also put the scroll bar at the bottom. You might see this, the scroll bar is also there, so I don't want that. Let's put auto and refresh. See, you can see that there is no scroll bar at the bottom. What this auto does is it puts a scroll bar only if the text if it is going outside of this part. So that is not happening, so the auto will not put a scroll bar at the bottom over here. Well, this is quite you can do with CSS4. This is basic tutorial that I'm teaching you, and you can do a lot using CSS for styling things. So stay tuned until the next time. I will get back with something different, or you can suggest me with what you might need, and I'll look into it. So goodbye for now.